Hey everybody, welcome back to Miss Lotta's channel. It is Sunday, August 8th, 2021. Today is the new moon in Leo. Hi Shelly, welcome. Good to see you. Good to be back. Okay, so interesting. We have this Leo new moon today. It started, I believe it was at 6:50 a.m. Pacific time today. And, Leo is all about fun. It's all about entertainment. It's about hobbies. It's about enjoyment. It's about pleasure. And I want to kind of just bring up the idea again that the sun rules Leo. And in doing so, I think it's really important to start to rewrite the structure of our lives in such a way where our own personal pleasures, our fun, our personal creativity are a priority. And I think if we really started to pay attention to that idea, rather than just blowing our own personal happiness aside, doesn't matter, that lower vibration of Saturn being do it, I don't care how you feel about it. It's time to rewrite that, which is why we're going through the Saturn-Uranus square this year and all the other things that have been going on for the last couple of years. So that's kind of what I wanted to say about the Leo new moon. It comes in between two Aquarian moons. So we can really think about what that opposition between Aquarius and Leo has to offer us, because I think that there's a similarity. If we think about what Aquarius is, it's unique. It's sometimes considered awkward, alien, space age, technology, research, things that are futuristic. And I think that's very complementary in some ways to what Leo says, because Leo is able to see the leader in themselves and what they want to create or to put forth, meaning in their own way of their personal genius, their creativity, etc. So when we take these two dynamics and then we give ourselves this permission, this is an important dynamic to the human experience, then what we do inadvertently is take that back to the collective. We take that back to humanity for Aquarius, and we stand in leadership as Leo. So here we are with this Leo new moon in between two Aquarian full moons, because in 2 weeks we'll have the second at 29 degrees, which is the Leo degree. The Aquarius full moon, the second one at the Leo degree. So I really want to kind of put you guys in a frame of mind that says, hey, you know what? Me having a good time, me enjoying my life, me having fun is absolutely important. And it's going to become a priority moving forward. So I'm excited about all of that. I want to welcome everybody to the show. Thank you for coming back. I know I've been gone for a couple of weeks. I actually had a couple of Sundays with a lot of work going on. So I decided to take the mornings off to prepare. So I want to welcome everybody. Hi, Stephen. Hi, MJBM. Hi, Shelly again. Hi, Babita. Hi, Juan. Hi, Small Wildflowers. Hi, Nikki. Did I miss anybody? I'm sure I did. Katerina. Kate. Posted up. So good to see everybody. I really did miss you all. So let's jump into our readings. I'm trying to think if there was any other dynamics of this week that I really wanted to chat about. We have a square, I believe, between Uranus in Taurus and the Sun in Leo, but that's something that's going to be really just a day or so influence. So another opportunity for liberation in some ways, for re-examination, and to make your own personal pleasure a priority. Good morning, Helena. Good morning, the 145 Club. Okay. All right. So let's jump in. And as we go, as you guys know, I start at Pisces and work my way towards Aries. Just something I started about 1 million Mercury retrogrades ago. So here we jump into it. Okay. Oh, what am I doing here? Oh my goodness gracious, I have the other deck all intertwined in here. I apologize. Give me a second to gather myself. Good morning, Veronica. Good morning, Nicole. Thank you, Shelley. Yeah, I decided to do a little something more in depth on that other little thing I'm doing. So, yeah, thank you for looking. I don't want to be out of integrity here on Lada's channel. All right, here we go. Pisces, rising moon, sun, and stelliums. And I really want to say this about the moon. You know, I listen to a lot of various astrologers, and I absolutely agree with the rising sign being so important. But the more I've studied astrology and the more I do this intuitive work, the more I know that our emotional body, while it goes up and down like a roller coaster 24/7, it is really the true measure of our ability to manifest. So if there's something you want, a relationship, a job, a new home, whatever it is, you have to look at your emotional body. You get to look at your emotional body to see what is the vibrational platform for this? Do I believe that I can afford to live in that place? Do I believe that I can manifest a good relationship? Because that is really the platform with which you're walking out on. So while the rising sign is our perception through the world, it's the lens of how we see the world, I believe our emotional body, represented by the moon, is really key to again, creating in the material world things that we want to experience. So pay attention to your moon. Pay attention to the aspects. My moon is part of 2 grand trines. So every time a planet hits any one of those points, it triggers the trine. So I want to offer that too, because when you look and see what are the aspects that my moon make in my natal chart being the intention I set for this lifetime. It's not a mandatory, it's just sort of a reflection of strengths and weaknesses that you came in willing to walk through in this lifetime to empower yourself and your soul. So I would really look at my moon. All right, here we go. Pisces, rising moon, sun, and stelliums. Our first angel is Archangel Raphael. Welcome, Belgium Pickles in the house. Our second angel for Pisces is Seraphina. The third is Archangel Gabriel. And the final is Azure. Okay. Pisces, joining Archangel Raphael is the movement card. Joining Seraphina is the love card. Joining Archangel Gabriel is the wind fairy. And joining Azure, I actually pulled 2 cards, so I'm going to keep it. I pulled the queen and the cow. Okay, so first thing I want to say is that this feels very much like, for Pisces, this is an opportunity to really, what does Leo represent? Today is our Leo new moon in in the sign of romance and fun and frivolity and the newness of romance, where hope lives eternal, where we see everything as if it's magical. And I feel like this is so important for Pisces, because when I look at Archangel Raphael here, I could look at, he's the angel of healing. But again, here we see this illumination around the top of his head. And I really believe that this is about paying attention to where is my emotional body, which then affects my cerebral processing, because there's movement coming as epiphanies come to Pisces, as Pisces starts to be more aware of, rather than just swimming through. I want to put it this way. In challenges, sometimes Pisces will just swim away, right? This time it feels like Pisces is not swimming away, but rather doing that dance, that fish do. Because in the opportunity or the obstacle is the love card, and Seraphina is saying there's a happy change coming to your family. And I want to offer it this way, because some of you Pisces may be wanting to have children, maybe wanting to start to bring little souls onto this planet. And I want you to start to give life. If there's been any challenges getting pregnant or through that process, think about the astrological dynamics of the last couple of years, and if you'd want that to be part of your life path. Some people will have chosen that because they are here on a master class, or they're here to help support humanity. But on an individual level, as a soul, somebody may say, no, I'm not really interested in that. I want to have more ease. Because if you give life to that idea and you take the resistance off of yourself, conception could happen much quicker. Because in the opportunity, in the angel's advice is Archangel Gabriel and the Wind Fairy. This is a lot of noise in my head. This is a lot of blah, 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 and it's not any of a good story. So now it's time to start to write a new story, meaning starting to tell, well, what if? Why not me? There have been, I tell a lot of my females that women for millennium were having babies well into their 40s. And somewhere along the line, we've shifted that to being like, if you're not 20 or 16, you're not viable. That's not true. Because here is, as you're saying, your desired outcome will happen in the near future. Have patience and faith and don't try to force it. Here we have the Queen, which is about fertility and reception and feminine energy. And then we have the Cow, which is about abundance, nourishment, asking and receiving. So on a very material level, if this is about a shift in a family, a shift either adding a new member to the family or shifting a dynamic that has been tense within a family, this is highly likely as you allow your own mind and your own heart to sort of commingle one another like your fish and start to allow epiphanies to come to you. What if it's like, oh, my focus has been way too much on the problem versus the solution? And if you can't figure out what the solution is, then just knowing or trying to connect with how it would feel. So if indeed you're looking to bring a little one into the world, then imagining that without the trepidation or the concern or the worry. Because if you can identify the percentage of worry versus faith, you'll see your percentages of success as far as manifestation goes. I believe that the soul actually chooses its parents, not the parent choosing to have a child. So if you look at it, it's not just two humans coming together on some level. It's three parties, maybe more, if indeed it's multiple babies or multiple souls. So open the picture up, Pisces, a little bit. Welcome, Astro Ascension. Hey, Stephen. Thank you for your comments. Those are all very interesting. My creativity has been activated as well, and I've been a lot more energetic, actually. Mars moved into my 6th house of work, and I have been working like I want to say a dog, but my dog doesn't work that hard. Okay, here we go. On to our Aquariuses, rising moon, sun, and stelliums. It's been so muggy and cloudy and warm and cold at the same time here. It's so weird. I feel like the earth has shifted on its axis somewhat. The 145 Club, I had my children in my 40s. So did my mom, who was born in 1912. My sister too. Perfect. This is a perfect example of what I'm talking about. When you take the resistance off it and you pull back into your own heart, amazing things can happen. Plus, think about it. If you're a soul, you don't necessarily want to sit inside of a female that's worrying for 9 months. So you might just wait till it's calmer. Okay, here we go. Aquarius. Our first angel is Vanessa in the foundational position. Daniel in the opportunity or the obstacle. Fiona in the angel's advice. And finally, Archangel Uriel. With everybody sort of being in this restricted area or restricted vibration is a better way to put it, because I don't know if all our actions are that restricted, but the constant threat of something looming is challenging. And I want to offer it this way, because this Leo new moon feels like it's really so much about romance right now, at least for our first two signs, about enjoying life from a place of innocence. I think of the 5th house as being very innocent. It's almost as before you know that people can criticize you, before you know that your creations aren't good. Little kids singing out loud before they're told they can't hold a pitch. Okay, Aquarius, Joining Vanessa is the Raven. Joining Daniel, the Angel of Marriage, is the Novice. Joining Fiona is the Wind Fairy. And joining Archangel Uriel is the Dragon. So again, this feels like romance. This feels like the fun of people feeling their mojo, feeling a little sassy, feeling a little bit like, okay. Because for Aquarius, this is what I want to say. This feels a little bit like it has to do with, again, partnerships. And why is everything so dark right now? Partnerships, with commingling of people together in a romantic, fun way. And while Aquarius, it's an interesting feeling for me, because Aquarius has a bit of a loner feel for me, as if you can go do your own thing and you're good with it. But there's also those times when I feel like being around a lot of people is important. And I feel like Vanessa is saying, Aquarius, it's time to have faith, because the Raven represents magic. And this particular, it's interesting to represent magic with a skull on the face of the card. But in Native American cultures, the Raven goes into the underworld and comes back with an understanding that is almost magical. And today is the 8/8 powerful Lionsgate day. Thank you for mentioning that, Welsh Roses. Because for Aquarius, I think it's about having faith that the timing is starting to become right for what you want to endeavor. And what I believe that is a partnership, because there's Daniel, the Angel of Marriage, and there is the Novice, which represents unstable new beginnings. There's the potential that this could be a partnership in business, but for some reason it's not coming across that way. It's coming across to me as if Aquarius is wanting to be seen and embraced for their uniqueness versus being stuck a little bit, feeling a little outside of things. Because when we feel connected to another human, when we sit in partnership with another human, we feel a sense of support. At least that's the basic idea of it. So I think for Aquarius, this is time to have faith that magic is about to happen. And that magic is an opportunity to commingle with other humans, or at least one other human, in a way that you feel seen and heard and appreciated. And the angels are saying now is really a time to get out of your head and to trust that spirit is bringing this energy across your path. You know, oftentimes when the human is inspired by an idea, they don't know how to sit in reception. They feel like, I must take action on it. And the action is not always on a platform that is really fertile, because it's like, I don't know how to get there, so I'm going to bang around in the room and hit all the walls until I feel like I'm getting somewhere. No, I feel like what Spirit is saying for Aquarius right now is to sit back, to actually, you have no physical control over the situation, but rather to watch magic happen as you sit in faith and that power. This Vanessa is a very powerful looking angel. And this is going to be practicing skills of trust and embracing this foreign kind of, futuristic idea of how this partnership will work. And your job in some ways is to get out of your human head so that spirit can give you a new experience. Because Aquarius, I think you've been really frustrated on some level with the actions you've been trying to take. And the actions feel as if they have been spotty, is the way I want to put it. Almost as if you get just enough of some sort of response or reaction that propels you forward. And yet at the same time, I still feel like there's a sitting back. So let's go back to this idea of the date of August 8th. I remember in 1988, and I will age myself, it was huge, 8888. Very big manifestation number, very big opportunity to open the lion's gate. Again, the lion representing the king, representing the sun, representing my personal pleasure, enjoyment, the commingling of with others in a way that is romantic and faithful and excited. And I feel like that is what's the opportunity for Aquarius today, is to sit somewhere in the future, because Aquarius represents, the future in some ways, but not in a way where you're longing for it. It's more in a way where it's going to happen, and you just have to give the ingredients time to savor, to marinate, to so the universe can show you something that you can't make happen. You have to receive it in some way. You have to receive the inspiration. You have to receive the next inspired action. So chill. That's what I want to say. And muse about the type of partnership that you want. And I want to offer it this way because I have such weird taste, all the way from watching Kardashians to watching the History Channel to watching PBS. I'm all over the place. I'm on meditation music one day, listening to Usher the next day, going back to classic rock. So if you feel like, you have a variety of tastes, there's no reason why there isn't other people and humans that can connect with the uniqueness of what you are and add to it. And this is really so much of what we want to start to open up and give life to. And that's what this new moon offers us. Okay. All right, here we go. On to our Capricorns. Well, it's just, I think every August 8th, we hear about the Lion's Gate. For some reason, that's the day. I don't really recall why, but I do know sometimes it's more powerful than other times. And I really think that, wow, all of the stars and these alignments of planets and things, to me, they feel like a landscape. They feel like almost like a forest or a desert. And it's our job to walk through and to make our choices as to which path we're going to take. Okay. Capricorn, rising moon, sun, and stelliums. Here we go. Okay, here we go. Whoop. Our first angel is Chantal, the angel of romance. Here we go. Isabella is in the opportunity of the obstacle. Sonia is in the angel's advice. And Crystal is in the final position. Hey, Scott. Welcome back. Good to see you. So far, we're 3 for 3 on this whole Leo new moon romance thing going on. And I want to offer this because as I'm tuning into Capricorn, I feel like, this feeling of being, feeling sort of sassy, romantic, wanting to play in the genders, meaning I want to play with my femininity or I want to play with my masculinity in the way that it intermingles with another. I feel like this is not necessarily because there's another person here, as much as you could be feeling this because it's teeing up something. When we have a new moon, this is a 6-month cycle. So this new moon in Leo is going to start a chapter that's going to illuminate and culminate to the next logical place when we have the full moon in Leo in about 6 months. So Chantal is being joined by the Raven, Capricorn. Isabella is being joined by the Horse. Sonia is being joined by the Bee card, and Crystal is being joined by the Transformational Death card. This Chantal represents romance, represents feeling that excitement and that vitality that when we meet somebody, I literally can remember being in my 20s and driving down the 405 freeway. One day I was a single girl feeling sort of about life. And the next day I met somebody and I was driving the same freeway and it was like I was flying on a magic carpet. And I feel like for Capricorn, there's a little magic carpet coming for you in the way of romance, either through the resurgence of a relationship or appreciation of the relationship, as well as new possibilities coming up. And the Raven is talking about timing, about magic. And I want to offer it this way because I have felt even before the COVID situation started that there was coming this time of retrospection or reflection. And many people who have been single for a long time, while they appreciate their singlehood, started to think about what it would be like to invite in somebody in their lives. And I think that's what's going on with Capricorn, that it's not only, the magic of romance, but a timing when you're ready to invite in romance in a new way. Because the horse is here, and the horse is running towards Isabella. And to me, the horse is a very intuitive animal, but it also says, yes, the timing is right for this new venture. And the new venture is the idea of romance, of being a baby goat instead of the old cranky goat. And I feel like part of it is Capricorn's willingness to pivot, willingness to say, you know what, I don't need to define myself by this Saturnian stuff forever and a day. I really think Saturn is wanting to be transformed. Saturn represents the father. And I know in Greek mythology, Saturn ate his children and it was all horrific and nasty. But we, as an evolved community of humans, think of the father energy as something loving and benevolent and kind and guiding. And I think that's what we should start thinking about with Capricorn, that your ruling planet is not necessarily asking you to be stoic because just for the sake of nasty to make you do something you don't like, but rather teaching you discipline, sort of like Karate Kid, wax on, wax off, so that when you stand in front of your own personal battle of what you want, you have the resources and you feel confident in your skills. And now this is skills of love, because Spirit has been teaching you about your being energy. And now it is time to start to be a baby goat. They could not be more fun. They could not be depicted as more joyous. It's almost amazing to me that when we think about Capricorn, we never think, what happened to that goat that made it go from being so excited and dancing everywhere it goes to being this cranky old energy? Because Capricorn, Crystal is saying, have faith and hope. There's more on the horizon that you can't see. And it comes through your own transformation. Your transformation and your willingness to start to see things from a little bit of a different place. That if I didn't go into this dark place, I would not have realized that this is something I actually want, to commingle with another of like-mindedness, somebody who can complement you versus be contrary to you. And I think that, again, is what this Leo new moon is offering us. What feels good? And I really want to just bang home the idea that the sun rules what feels good. And the sun, when it gets near any other planet, it combusts that other planet. May sound a little harsh, but maybe the sun is saying, are you enjoying yourself? Are you enjoying yourself, Saturn? And Saturn may say, well, I am in some respects. I'm enjoying working out every day. I'm enjoying being an athlete. And therefore then comes the reward. Remember, Saturn rules reward, and long-term, deeply rooted reward. So pick your lane. Saturn doesn't pick your lane for you. It just asks you constantly to do the work. All right, here we go. Sagittarius, rising moon, sun, and stelliums. And I'm just going to say it. Hit that like button, everybody. Did I say hi to Lucy Rose? Hi, Lucy Rose. It's good to see you in the room. Hi, Tony Martell. I have a Virgo Venus, and, for a long time I thought, I'm not virginistic. I kind of looked at Virgo with a very flat lens. And as I've studied my chart more and more, I realized that my Venus in Virgo is compelling me, because it's right near Pluto, to be of service in the Venusian ways. And I think that's mostly self-esteem and the braveness to do what I enjoy and use my skills at it. All right, here we go. Sagittarius, rising moon, sun, and stelliums. Our first angel is Vanessa. The second is Daniel. The third is Omega. And the final is Seraphina. So far, every single one of the signs is getting about romance. It's about partnership. It's about commingling with other humans in a fun, loving way. Couldn't be more appropriate for a new moon in Leo. All right, Sagittarius, who's going to be joining Vanessa today? Vanessa is being joined by the horse. Daniel is being joined by the wind fairy. Omega is being joined by the birth and rebirth card. And Seraphina is being joined by the raven. You see how big these decks are, right? You see me shuffle. I think this is so funny. All right, Sagittarius, you are ruled by the horse, the centurion, centaur. Now it's time to run towards faith. And in a way, I want to offer it this way. Regardless of what you want to manifest, and in this particular case, this again feels like love, feels like fun, feels like all things Leo, romance. I think it's super important to allow yourself to go where no man has gone before. Allow yourself to daydream on an emotional, mental, and spiritual level into your faith and what you believe about yourself. Because I don't think this is about asking other people for their agreement in your what you want. I've been watching a lot of TikTok lately. I don't know how I discovered it, but I did. It's quite amusing. But I saw this two different TikToks. One was about, if someone's been single for too long, hello, that's me, and how they've got their life dialed in. They don't need anybody else, to help pay the rent or blah, 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 blah. And I started to think about that because it was so true. And then I started to think about, am I going to start to define myself as like, I have taken such good care of myself and I've been alone for so long that I'm aging myself out of a partnership or out of a desire? I don't think that's true. And this is where I want to talk about rewriting partnership, because I think, Sagittarius, this is about having faith that wherever you are in your life path, whether you're in a partnership or not, or you want to be in a partnership, that it is possible. And it's time for you to sort of travel into emotional and spiritual places where no man has gone before. Get out of the herd, because Daniel is the angel of marriage and there is the wind fairy. And this is what you're thinking about, the story you've told yourself about marriage, about commingling, about partnership, because in the angel's advice is Omega, the angel of victory, and the birth and the rebirth card. And what I think this is about is rewriting how we do relationships. Normally, people get in a relationship and then they move in together, or they start commingling their finances together. None of that has to happen anymore. We are in a whole different place, a whole different time. So we can write the rules for our own relationships. Because I think if it's highly probable that two people who are of a certain age may not want to live together, but spend a quality time together and then have their independence, because now is a time for you, Sagittarius, to really give life to the idea that there is new happiness coming to your home, to your personal life, to your family, to the people you hang out with. That's Seraphina, and the timing is right for this. Again, there's this weird feeling of the raven sort of being this 2020 lockdown, and we had to go into the depths of our own life, the people we were living with, the work we were doing, and really decide if it was working for us or not working for us. And in determining that, some things shifted and some things got better. So now I really want to emphasize that when we think about love, when we think about partnership, we get to rewrite how that looks in a way that's very Leo new moon. I mean, writing it the way we want it to be. Frankly, if I was in a relationship, I would love him to live next door. Go live next door. You can come over, Thursday to Sunday, and then be gone Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Is that terrible? No, it's awesome. It's brilliant. You think about it, maybe we get less on each other's nerves. Okay, here we go. On to our Scorpios, rising moon, sun, and stelliums. Yeah, I think that's not such a bad thing. And that way, when you want to wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning and watch stupid TikToks, because you can, you won't bug anybody who's in the bed with you. Oh, I amused myself so. Okay, here we go. Scorpio, rising moon, sun, and stelliums. Our first angel is Rosetta. The second is Bridget. The third is Daniel. And the final is Mystique. This is now Okay, I have to count. Pisces, Aquarius, Capricorn, Sag, and now this is the fifth sign in a row that has to do with partnership, love, and romance. Jules, I'm with you. I don't know if I can live with anybody again. I mean, live with my dog because I get to be the boss. But I don't know if I really, there comes a time you just sort of get into your own rhythm. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. All right, Scorpio, Rosetta is being joined by the Wasp. Bridget is being joined by the Lady of the Lake. Daniel is being joined by the Stag. And Mystique is being joined by Merlin. Okay, so this is a little challenging for Scorpio. But then again, maybe not, because Scorpio has its own little stinger, because Rosetta talks about children, parenting and teaching children. And then there's the Wasp, which is about anger and jealousy. I don't think that this is about actually children for Scorpio. I think this is your inner child. And I think your inner child is a little bit put off right now. I think it wants a little bit of attention. I think it wants to be nurtured, to be loved, to be appreciated. And I think that whether you're in a relationship or not, this is in play. Because Bridget is asking you to look deeper, Scorpio, into how much courage you have to stand up for yourself. And I don't mean this in a way that is expressing your frustration, but actually the opposite. It's where you have somehow connected what you're thinking, the emotional turmoil in your mind, the emotional turmoil in your heart, and then being able to stand softly with the sword of truth as you take ownership for your participation in your own discomfort. And I'm not saying this to get up your grill, but as I have aged, I've realized so much of my discomfort comes from my attitude about something. There are things that are disruptive that I just don't give a you know what about, and they're not really disruptive. And then there's things little Miss Polly Manners over here gets very bunched up about, and it's unnecessary. And I want to offer it this way, because in the angel's advice, we have Daniel, the angel of marriage, and we have the Stag. In this particular case, Daniel talks about my history with other humans in partnership. And I feel a little bit like the Stag is not talking about leadership, but talking about a stubborn pride where I'm hanging on to my history. And there comes a time when sometimes we have to ask ourselves if we care more about other people understanding what we're doing, or we just do it. Putting it this way, sometimes in order to purport a healthy boundary, you might have to look like the bad guy to somebody else. And if for some reason somebody thinks that, you're changing your pattern, well, you always do this for me, you always do this for me, and you stop doing it because it's been draining to you, it may piss them off. Pardon my language. But I think it's time to take care of you. Because I think if you take care of you, what you're going to find out is that things are going to work out in much better, more balanced way. Because here's Mystique saying to keep charging ahead. Don't take no for an answer. And there's Merlin, alchemy, balance, justice. This is magical, but it doesn't come easily. And I want to offer it this way, because I think part of it is for my Scorpios to be a little bit more childlike in your willingness to believe in magic versus the stinger. This Scorpio is a fixed sign, and also a fixed sign that is intuitive by nature. It sees the underbelly. Scorpio rules plumbing. It rules the unseen. So there could be this dynamic where this new moon has made you trust a part of your heart that is actually illuminated an imbalance for you. And it's up to you not to allow that imbalance to continue to put you in a lesser than position. That's the way I want to put it. And not to let your pride get in the way, because it's easy to do that. It's easy to want to just continue to hang in there. But I think this is about hanging in there, but from a place that's saying, I am valuable. I am something that should be revered and cherished, and take it that way. Okay, let's go on to our Libras. Congratulations, Astro Ascension, on your new release. That's very exciting. Okay, here we go. On to our Libras, rising moon, sun, and stelliums. Good morning, Gustav. Did I say hi to Lucy? Wasps also tend to attack the butterfly as it comes out of the cocoon, and it's laying there trying to dry its little wings. Pesky little wasps. Libra, here we go. Okay. Our first angel for our Libras is Astera. The second is Rosetta. The third is Archangel Raphael. And the final is Indriel. All right, here we go. Yes, Lucy Rose, it's it's a little bit sad, but nature is kind of horrific when you watch these nature shows, actually. And at the same time, there's a beautiful wisdom to it all. So I just think about the butterflies that make it past that wasp stage to, inspire us as they fly by. Okay, here we go. Libra, joining Astera is the choice card, the mystery. Joining Rosetta is the Lady of the Lake. Joining Archangel Raphael is the Eagle. And joining Indriel is the Birth and the Rebirth card. This is very interesting. So we have this new moon, which is where we plant the seeds. We plant the seeds of our desires, plant the seeds of romance, plant the seeds of Leo activities. And I feel on some level, when I looked at this spread, being a Libra sun, I have had Pluto squaring my ascendant in Aries, my sun in Libra, and now my Mars is also in Libra. And I feel like this has been a death and a rebirth. That's what Pluto offers, right? And I'm going there because I think that for Libra, the sign of cooperation, harmony, balance, the commingling of things, commingling of lives, marriage, partnership. I think this is a time for Libra to reach for the stars with their dreams and desires and not to compromise. And I say this not to compromise to be defiant to others, but to make a choice that is a little bit more intentional. Libra sometimes can be, they use the word indecisive, which I always sort of laughed at because I didn't understand the rising sign. I was like, I'm a Libra, I'm not indecisive. But a Libra, and especially a Libra moon or a Libra stellium, is going to be super, super cooperative to others. And I think it's important to see if you're aligning to people who are actually have the same viewpoint you do. Because if they have something contrary or opposite, it's going to be challenging for you. Because it's a little bit time to have this moment of putting Libra, not first in a way that feels selfish or feels obstinate to others, but in a way that actually takes care of your inner child, so you don't build resentment, so you don't build a sense of feeling like you're giving and you're not getting anything back. I say this because of the last position, but I'll get there in a minute, because Archangel Raphael is asking Libra to have an epiphany. And here, when I look at the eagle, I don't think it's about the connection to the angelic realm as much as I think it's about the integrity of self-care, of not overly compromising to a point of being detrimental to the Libra energy. Because Libra, you are a light worker, and all of us are in some ways, regardless of how bright our light is shining. So here is the Birth and the Rebirth card. And I think that what Libra will find, that as you really reach for the stars with your dreams and desires and see that your own self-care, your own healthy boundaries is actually helping another versus being difficult. I want to give you a quick example. I have a client this week, and there was a bit of a disruption. The client is going through a very challenging time, very fear-based, and unfortunately, they kept throwing stuff at me, not even having booked an appointment, just wanting to like throw information at me, etc., so that when I had an appointment with them, I would be well informed. This was encroaching. My time is my money, and so then the more and more communicative disruptions happened because fear became so acute and so bright that it stopped this person from being able to see their own behavior. I had to say no to this, because otherwise I was going to build some resentment about this, because I'm a naturally giving person of my time, but I don't like it when someone demands my time from me. And I don't know that they were aware of that. So my point is this: when Libra reaches for the stars with their dreams and desires and don't compromise, they're making a choice that's actually for everybody. Because a Libra who has been overly accommodating and becomes resentful is not a pleasant person anymore. They're not fun. And that's anybody who's in that space. But if you're going to do what is best for others, then you have to do what's best for you, Libra. And that's where I think this new moon in Leo gives you an opportunity to put your personal pleasure, your enjoyment time, your relaxation time, if that's what you want, at the forefront rather than behind everybody else. All right, let's go on to our Virgos. Oh, I agree, Nitro Nick. Transparent negotiation doesn't even feel like it actually happens. Feels like there's so many hidden agendas these days. And I almost feel like people don't even know they have a hidden agenda. All right. Oh, Mandy, with that little combination, sun and moon in signs of cooperation, and then the Capricorn rising could make you feel like it's hard for you to take care of you. But it's so important that you do. That way you continue to be the baby goat. All right. Virgo, rising moon, sun and stallions. Give it a good shuffle. All right, our Virgo, our first angel is Indriel. The second is Akasha. The third is Shanti. And the final is Bridget. Dropped a card. Be back in a second. And there goes my hair. Oh, gotta love live television. Is this television? Live streaming. All right, Virgo, here we go. Joining Indriel is dun, 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 the Fear card. Akasha is being joined by the Swan. Shanti is being joined by the Cow. And Bridget is being joined by the Restriction card. I'm going to pull one more. Sleepy Willow, I go backwards. I start at Pisces and work my way towards Aries. It's just something my Libra balance implemented a while ago. So it'll be just a little bit. Okay, Virgo. Oh, Virgo, Virgo, Virgo. This is what I want to say. You're working too hard. I feel immediately that you're working too hard. You're being overly responsible in some way, and it's time to play. It's time for Virgo to see the wisdom of frivolity, the wisdom of Leo. When I think about the zodiac, I can almost imagine that if Leo is the fifth house and it's been running around in its bathing suit all tan and let's have fun. And Virgo's like, hey, Monday morning's coming. We got to be ready, right? Have you prepared? It's Sunday night. And Leo's like, no, it's still Sunday fun day. I think, Virgo, you need to have a little Sunday fun day that runs into Monday. Okay? Because when I see the light worker, I feel like this is an epiphany for Virgo of false evidence appearing real. If I can't have deadlines. No deadlines. I want to offer it this way, because when Virgo takes care of Virgo, when Virgo plays, Virgo comes back into the work environment with a much different attitude. And I see that as a result of Akasha. Akasha is the spiritual teacher. And here is the swan. The swan is about trusting and intuition. It's about evolution from an illusion. The ugly duckling was never ugly. It was going through a phase. It was growing into the swan. And I don't know that the ugly duckling or the swan, either one is better. So they're different forms of transformation. And that's where Akasha comes in. Because I feel like the wisdom doesn't come from the idea that Virgo works hard. It's more about the transformation of Virgo, of knowing that Virgo is dependable and practical and reliable. And while it's all still those same things, Virgo knows how to play and have fun so that it doesn't get caught up in fear, doesn't get caught up in some sort of lower energy of Virgo where it's like, I'm working hard and you're not. So now I'm inadvertently judging you. Because I think Virgo is coming into a place of reception, of feeling and knowing that my peace of mind, my sense of flow in the universe is key to my transformation. And I think that this is really super important for Virgo to grab onto, that the Virgo that is working so hard under stress is not getting anything done. You may appear to get projects finished, but there's something about it that's creating a stop or a stutter down the line. And I say that because in this final position, we have Bridget asking you to look deeper. We have the restriction card, which is a pause. And then we add the ego. And this for me is integrity. So if indeed Virgo is going to be in integrity, part of that integrity is to thyself. To thyself, that I feel the value of playtime. I feel the value. Virgo rules our health. Virgo rules enslavement. Oftentimes we're enslaved to our jobs because we need to pay our bills. And then we get into this space where we spend money because we're so bunched up and not having fun that buying something feels like fun. And then we go through this cycle of having to pay the bill for whatever that was. So this is where I'm going with this. As Virgo says, Sunday fun day is exactly that. And any other day that you want to have fun. And then see how you go back into your work environment or back into the process of what you do to make money. Because I feel like you'll be more effective. You will be more well received by others. I think there's a little part of Virgo that can sometimes stress other people out because it's like, get the job done. Very Capricornish in some ways, right? And I don't know if it's serving you. So I really want to offer for Virgo to plant the seeds of fun, to plant the seeds of frivolity, to plant the seeds of silliness. If you're a Virgo tonight, watch a funny movie and listen to yourself laugh and see your own vibration shift as you let yourself laugh unabashedly, because that will then bring the work environment into a much more balanced and productive and effective dynamic. Okay, let's go on to our Leos. This is your moon. As I say that, I believe that Virgo, this new moon would be in your 12th house, right? Check me if I'm wrong. So this makes it feel even more for Virgo. What's behind you that you're not seeing, that you could take advantage of? And that could be fun. That's it. This whole planet needs to be more fun. Can you imagine if we all had so much more fun, how much better we'd be when we went to do something that wasn't fun? Just call me C. Happy birthday. All right, here we go. Leo, rising moon, sun, and stelliums. I just wanted to start singing Let the Sun Shine. Let the sun shine. Let the sun shine in, the sun shine in. Okay, I'm losing my mind. Here we go. Leo, our first angel is Shanti, the angel of peace. The second is Indriel. The third is Fiona. And the final is Mystique. Yes, Nicole, 4 planets are a stellium. They are rare, but not crazy rare. There's quite a few people that have stelliums. They indicate a focus on the life path and a thing that where the soul has chosen to really look at that dynamic. So, because the stellium will not only be in the sign, but the house. So both will come into play. All right. Leo, Shanti is being joined by the perception card. Indriel is being joined by the stag. Fiona is being joined by the focus card. And Mystique is being joined by the burden card. Okay. So, my Leos, the angel of peace, Shanti, is here. But the first thing I always think about is where is my peace being disrupted, or where is the fly in the ointment? And for myself personally, sometimes it's just my thought process. What am I thinking? And here we have Shanti and the angel of peace and the perception card. This is your opportunity. And I want to offer it this way because there's a feeling of other people peering in on me right now. Other people may be looking at me and assessing their opinion of what I'm doing and what I'm not doing. And it might be disrupting my sense of peace. And I feel like this is where Leo's got to be a little bit rogue, or maybe a lot bit rogue, and allow your own perception to lead the way. Because here we have the stag. And I think this is about Leo leadership. And I think this is about an epiphany that, you know what, if I try to go another person's path, I'm not going to be a happy person. And if I'm a non-happy Leo roaring, walking through the Serengeti, roaring, angry, is not going to be good. Because now it's time to focus in on what Leo wants unabashedly. And to know that when you focus in on it, that God, the angels, the laws of attraction start to kick in. And this is where your true leadership comes in. I love the idea of Leo kind of saying, you know what? I can't help myself. I must act. I must have fun. I must express myself. Because to me, that's the true soul coming through. Because in the final position, Leo, is Mystique saying to keep charging ahead and don't take no for an answer. Expect miracles. And it may feel a little burdensome right now. And that might be because we go back to the idea of perception. Leo without an audience is a sad thing. And I say that because, the idea of our personal creativity without an audience falls flat. We like the validation as humans. So there may be a little bit of a challenge right now in being able to feel peace, because the world at large is a little disruptive. There's a lot of stuff. We've got this variant and that variant and this potential time, and oh boy, blah, 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 blah. And I feel like Leo sort of put these little, blinders on, go your direction, and in some respects, protect your peace, protect your perception of peace in the world, because to me, that's a ripple effect, and a ripple effect of leadership. And in many ways, it isolates you and insulates you from the world at large. So I want to offer this. Throughout history, there have been people during great times of crisis that have thrived, that have actually created millions and become very rich and wealthy as a result of those challenges. So this is an opportunity for anyone that has Leo influence, Leo rising, moon, sun, or stelliums. If you have a stellium in Leo, you are meant to be a leader, and you are meant to be a leader and go your own direction. And I think this is the important thing, is to give yourself that permission, which will help bring more peace of mind to you. And while others may not understand it right now, as you continue to charge ahead, it may feel burdensome, but I believe that what you will do is start to rewrite things. This is the novice, skill without practice, unstable new beginnings. This is a sense of innocence and curiosity. So for me, this is a little bit for Leo to push aside the more negative definitions or labels that have been put on your sign and continue to move ahead, to trust that. And Nicole, your Leo stellium on your midheaven, that just speaks of riches to me, to be honest with you. I have a client who has her sun and Venus on Regulus and we all know that's in Leo. And, it's amazing to me what she's capable of and how I'm excited to see how that grows. So Nicole, keep us posted as you work on your career. All right, here we go. All right, here we go. On to our Cancers, rising moon, sun, and stelliums. Our first angel for our moon children is Rochelle. The second is Rosetta. The third is Desiree. And the final is Ray. Not everyone has a stellium. No. You'll find outer planets involved in a stellium. A lot of people may have them in the same sign, but the house will change. Those are slower moving planets. And I think those are contracts we've made with groups of people as well. All right, Cancer, let's move on. Bye, Shelley. See you later. Have a great week. All right. Rochelle is being joined by the B card, Cancer. Rosetta is being joined by the Owl. Desiree is being joined by the Love card. And Ray is being joined by the Eco card. Okay, so this is really, for my Cancers this week, this is really a kind of a combination between what you want for yourself, my Leo energy and the new moon, and what is expected of you in the way of the nurturing energy that you are. Because Rochelle is saying it's time for you to follow your heart. It's time for you to look at your being energy and to trust your heart in a way. As I've done this work, and I hate to interrupt myself all the time, but I do, I realize the initial thing that I think my heart wants is not what my heart wants. I have to take a minute and look twice, because oftentimes I will think I want something, but it's really in relation to how other people will respond to me having that, and if they will find favor in me for having it. So I really want to encourage my Cancers to look deeper into their heart chakra and what it is that you want, what it is that you desire, and what it is you need to feel thriving and valuable on this planet. Because in the opportunity or the obstacle, we have Rosetta representing children, guiding, parenting, and teaching children. And then we have the Owl. And, Cancer is the natural sign of the nurturer, of the mother, whether you're a father or a mother, regardless. So the Owl is really representing the deception and wisdom. And I want to offer it this way, because if you're a Cancer and you're contemplating bringing children into the world, you may be nervous about the world at large. What kind of world am I bringing a child into? I'm responsible for that. I disagree. I think that the soul who chooses to incarnate into your family or into your dynamic is the one who's responsible for that. So if indeed you want to have the parenting experience, there will always be challenges in the world. It's the way it's designed. So the angels are saying you could look at the conditions and talk yourself out of it, or you could see the love that the conditions offer. I've heard many people say that this time in history is, devastating, and the things that we're going through are just so arduous. And then I kind of disagree, man. There's been times in history where things were way more gnarly and way more out of our control. There was a time that just for your religious beliefs, you could be ripped out of your home, thrown across the street, encased in barbed wire, with no choice and no opportunity. So I really want to encourage my Cancers to follow your heart, to look deeper into the dynamics that are happening in your world right now and skip over them. Because I think what's happening is somehow God is being edged out for you right now. And I think that Ray is asking you to reconnect with your guides, your angels, and your own oversoul. We all chose to be here at this time for a reason. We may not understand the reason. I think there's clues in our natal chart, but we're here because I think it's that Aquarian age. I think it's about going where no man has gone before, and in doing so, allowing us to bring men and women closer together, allowing for our individuality, our uniqueness, our different ways of being. And with Cancer being the sign of the nurturer, it almost feels a little bit like Cancer likes to keep everything the way that it has been, because it's children love structure. They like to know where they're going and where they're supposed to be. And I think that this is about structure with flexible walls, or structure with flexibility attached to it. And also knowing that Cancer is not responsible for the children and the souls they bring in such a way to make sure they're always happy, but to help guide them during the challenging times to be able to see happiness through it. And that's when we connect with our guides, our angels, and our bigger picture, rather than our ego just telling us life sucks and it's always going to be like this. Yes, these negative dynamics also have a positive side, because oftentimes they propel us. Being in an uncomfortable place will propel us, if we're brave enough to seek comfort. So here we go on to our Gemini, rising moon, sun, and stelliums. Here we go. America's about to have its Pluto return. That should be interesting. Woohoo! Yeah, it's scary times, but I believe there's a time, these times offer us way more freedoms than there ever has been. So, all right, here we go. Gemini, rising moon, sun, and stelliums. Our first angel is Akasha. The second is Opal. The third is Daniel. And the final is Bridget. Whoop. Akasha is being joined by the owl, Gemini. Opal is being joined by the hawk. Daniel's being joined by the fear card. And Bridget's being joined by the protection card. All right. So here we have Gemini, Akasha, the spiritual teacher, and the owl. It's interesting to me because the owl here is for some reason really representing a sight, a perception, and to see that every challenge in some ways is bringing you closer to the truth of who you are. And when I say the truth of who you are, it is a soul inhabiting a physical experience. And there is an immense wisdom to coming into this physical experience with the unknowing that you are a soul. If you think about it, within this lifetime, we have experienced so many challenges that we can't even get over them, some of them. You know, we have therapists who help us deal with our childhood. And I don't think that it's about that anymore. I think it's about not trying to deal with the past, but instead seeking the wisdom of what that past had to offer us and allow it to teach us. I had a client a few weeks ago who she was terribly upset because there was a cheating experience going on. And it immediately took me back to an experience I had with a cheating dynamic. And what I shared with this person was that I had such a fear of that cheating happening to me that when it finally happened, it was a sense of relief because I saw my own participation within the dynamic because I believed it could happen. I believed that I was susceptible to that. So here, what I'm saying is that I gained wisdom through that situation. I gained wisdom in seeing where my focus was. And in doing so, it helped me to be more effectual in my teaching. Because for my Geminis, there's Opal saying that God is in charge of your children on heaven and earth. And here's the hawk. The hawk is about signs and omens. So this is where I'm going with this, because I don't think this is about the children outside yourself. I think this is your inner child. And I think that by Cancer being able to pull themselves up to a greater sight, to me, the owl and the hawk are a similar totem. The owl represents the nighttime version of the daytime hawk, where my sight is tremendous and has great precision. So as I rise above, I'm able to see where I am not in concert or in partnership with spirit, and my fears might be eclipsing what I know in my heart. Because there's something about a challenging experience actually working for your benefit versus trying to pull you under or remind you that you're not deserving in some way. Because Bridget is asking you to look deeper into a situation, and there's the protection card. So let me go back for a second. In my personal, this one particular cheating situation I'm discussing, my hindsight is to know that this person who cheated on me, we were both like this all the time in our relationship, both wanting to be the leader of the pack. And in doing so, we really were not aligned in a romantic way. Were we aligned in other ways? Yes. So as I was able to really look at the difference, the wisdom, and to get past my own ego of wanting that relationship to be the relationship versus looking at the dynamics of the relationship. Because I really must go to partnerships here somehow. Yes, Lucy Rose, sometimes rejection is the creator's protection, but it's also our oversoul's protection. Because if you look deeper into the situation, you don't have to feel sad about it. But rather, Gemini, you can use the duality of Gemini, the being able to look at both sides of the situation, and rather than villainizing yourself or the other person, become the teacher for yourself. And the teacher will then be very appreciative of the experience while not wanting to go through it again. This really feels like it's about perception in some ways for Gemini. All right, let's go into our Tauruses. Okay. Taurus, rising moon, sun, and stelliums. Joe Lorna, I want you to let your intuition lead you sometimes, because that, I don't know if any of us truly have an exact time of birth, because by the time we come out of the birth canal and somebody actually looks at a clock, some of us may be getting it right on and some of us may not, because I think there are layers within the chart. I never really resonated with my Libra sun, only because it's so cooperative and so nice and has such good manners. And I'm an Aries rising and a Taurus moon, so I'm a little bit like a ram and a bull, more than I am cooperative. So when I look at the various dynamics of my chart, I see how many Leo degrees I have. I have 2 different accesses at the 29th degree. I believe it's the 29th degree. So there's a lot going on here. All right, let's look at Taurus. Here we go. Rising moon, sun, and stelliums. We have Sonia in the foundational position. We have Athena in the opportunity or the obstacle. We have Seraphina in the angel's advice. And then we have Daniel, the angel of marriage. So much of all the signs are talking about partnership right now. And I really think that's about defining partnerships in our own individual ways, not necessarily as they have been defined for us in the past. Lucy Rose has a Taurus moon. You know, when you have your moon in Taurus, it's exalted there. So it loves to be in Taurus. Pardon me. All right. Sonia is being joined by the king. Athena is being joined by the high priestess. Seraphina is being joined by the deer. Daniel is being joined by the partnership card. Okay. I'm going to have to say it straight up. This very much feels like it could have something to do with marriage and or partnerships that have a contract, a literally signed legal contract. We have Sonia, which represents a deceased loved one, but I also believe it represents our team. And then we have the king. The king can represent a male energy, but it also represents for me karma, things pertaining to the law, and justice. And I want to offer it this way because as a Taurus moon, you know, I have, everybody has their stuff, right? Everybody has issues. I don't know how sometimes to stop a story I already have. So as a Taurus moon, I can be bullish. I know that. I can be stubborn. I'm also incredibly loyal and incredibly generous, to be honest with you. Maybe not always with money, but with my time, with my attention, and with my resources. So I want to offer this for my Taurus moons. I think it's time for you to start to pay attention to your team, to understand that it's just and fair at this time to rely on a bigger picture of things. Uranus has been transiting Taurus for, I don't know, 3 years now, maybe 4, or going on 4. And it is going to rewrite every single person who has planets in Taurus is going to get a renovation of some kind. It's going to give you an opportunity to take that Uranian energy and liberate yourself from some old stories. Because now is a time for Taurus to lovingly assert yourself into the version of yourself that you want and what you know your soul has contracted to experience. Because no matter the age, no matter the dynamic, I believe that Tauruses want to experience enjoyment with others. And I feel like this is about being gentle and diplomatic with yourself as you lovingly assert yourself in a new direction. And I say new direction because I have a new attitude about it. I may be going down the same sidewalk or down the same street or down the same path, but I have a new perception, new attitude, and now I'm calling forth for true partnership. And I mean this in a way that allows my Taurus energy to be large and loud and full without feeling bullish or feeling stubborn or any of the lower dynamics, but rather to play to the higher vibrations. Because the partnership understands the way the partnership understands. I want to put it this way. Lots of times when I'm talking to a client about partnership, I know how strong my leadership skills are. I know how assertive I appear. Some people don't like me. That's fine. But what I want is my partner to always understand me. So when I'm standing at a heightened level of aggravation, rather than telling me I'm a bitch, I want that partner to say, I know who you really are. And this isn't it. Because that will then make me remember who I really am and take me down a notch. And I don't mean because they're trying to, but because they want to remind me that they love me in all my fullness. So, Taurus, it is just and fair. And your guides are reminding you that you are loved. And it's time to assert yourself to the bigger version of what you want and to be gentle and diplomatic and kind to yourself as you give life to a story you may not have lived yet. And it's coming. It's coming. And you know what? That's what Uranus could do. Uranus could bring it like, wow, I never knew. It could come over the internet. You may swipe right or swipe left. It may join a class of some kind and see somebody on a Zoom call. And all of a sudden you're like, that's my person. Who knew they lived halfway around the world? Open up, Taurus. Open up. Thank you. Good luck. I like you back. Let's go on to our final sign, Aries. Rising moon, sun, and stelliums. I like to think of myself as fabulously flawed. That's what I always tell people, Lucy Rose. I used to work for this company, and this woman used to give me a lot of grief about my hair, especially when I didn't blow dry it, because it would be big and unruly, as she would call it. And I remember looking at her and saying to her one day, I've been to therapy. I'm over my hair. I'm fabulously flawed. Get over it. Here we go. Aries, rising moon, sun, and stelliums. Hey, CJD. Let's all send Tebow some love. We haven't seen him in a while. We haven't seen Oil Painter in a while. I'd like to send her some love. People off having their Leo fun in the summer, I hope. All right, Aries. Our first angel is Oceana. The second is Shanti, the angel of peace. The third is Isabella. And the final is Astera. Isn't it funny the things that people feel privileged to say to other people? Sometimes I just want to tell people to mind their own business. Okay, Oceana, Aries, is being joined by the dragon. Shanti's being joined by the stag. Isabella's being joined by the bear. And Astera's being joined by the Grail Knight. There's a lot of romance going on with this new Leo moon, I got to tell you. Or at least the opportunity if people will open up their hearts and their minds. Because again, I want to say this is a 6-month cycle. So we plant the seeds in this Leo new moon in the dark of the moon. And then when we come to the full moon, about 6 months from now, I didn't look it up, but it's usually about a 6-month cycle. We could see many people being in relationships that had not been in relationships for a long time. I had a woman here from New York a couple of years ago, and she walked out of here shaking her head, telling herself, this woman doesn't know what she's talking about. I've been single for a decade. I've been, living in Manhattan, blah, blah, blah. A year later, she called me. She said, when I walked out of your house, I thought you were crazy. And now I think you're the most amazing thing in the world because I met my man. I moved to Queens. We're living together. We're in love. Everything is fabulous. You never know what can happen. A difference a day can make because Aries, it's really time to be calm in your actions and to keep moving towards what is most important to you and to be aware of the fire inside of you and not try to squelch it. And also don't throw gasoline on it because I think this is a combination. I know that fire and water make steam. They also make a nice warm bath. And I feel like it's time for Aries to take a nice warm bath in their emotional body so that you can stand in leadership in a peaceful way, knowing that your history is about to be rewritten. The bear represents my history, my storytelling. It also represents music. And there's Isabella saying, yes, the timing is right for this new venture. And I think it has everything to do with romance. There's the Grail Knight who talks about romance. And then Astera saying to reach for the stars with your dreams and desires and not to compromise. I've been saying for probably a year now that I believe that within this period of time, many people who are of a certain mature age will experience the greatest loves of their life, the greatest accomplishments in their careers, their most happy chapters at a time when history would have packed you up and put you out to pasture, because it's all part of the rewriting of this time. And that's why it seems so disruptive and so scary. And yet at the same time, we are being offered privileges and offered individuality that we never had before on a global scale. So I believe that as Aries, who represents individuality, I am the lone guy. I go out and I pioneer on my own. Now is a time to start to think, hey, maybe I'm Lewis and Clark. Maybe I actually do have a partner, and the opportunity to bring a partnership in that aligns to the person I am as an Aries, aligns to my courage, aligns to my assertiveness without feeling like a big, aggressive, angry, Aries. So I want to give life to the idea that you can feel peaceful and be yourself because you understand your history. There is a couple times in the last 2 weeks when I was off that I got so fried and pissed off about something. And while the other person probably has no clue, I was so proud of how I showed up, because rather than just, blasting in a way that is destructive, I felt very constructive. And I really didn't care how the other person responded to it as much as I cared about how I showed up within it. So that's what I think is important for Aries right now. Don't diminish your leadership, but think about how influential you want to be in your communications. If you don't care, blast the person, let them go, whatever. But if you really care, then think about how your communications land. Think about how your communications to yourself land, and give yourself permission to start to think that you're not too difficult, you're not too fiery, you're not too warrior-like. What you are is somebody who's loyal and loving and willing to go into battle for those that you care about. And now it's time to really determine if those that you care about add to your life, distract from your life, and start to claim your peace of mind. Okay, yes, like sands through the hourglass of time, so are the days of our lives. All right, guys, that's it for me for this week. My name is Teri Hunter. I'm an angel therapy practitioner. I think of myself as an intuitive astrologer, and I'm an empowerment coach and a Reiki master. So if you'd like to book a reading with me, you can go into the link below, click on it, and it'll take you to Lada's website, and you can book there. And I'll be back next Sunday morning at 11 a.m. Pacific time with more messages from your angels for traversing the astrological transits. Sending lots of love and light to you all. It was great to see you again. Peace. I'm out. Sayonara.